On Ukraine's eastern front, near a mine-laced tree line and a road that looks like it has been chewed by artillery, a Russian reconnaissance group rolls forward like it owns the map. It doesn't. A Ukrainian recon drone hangs somewhere above the grey-brown haze, high enough to be a rumour, low enough to count bolts on a turret when the sun hits right. The feed is steady, the kind of steady that only happens when the drone crew has already rehearsed the next 10 minutes in their heads. Below, the probing force is classic. APCs with infantry stuffed inside, and a tank riding along like a bouncer. They push into a gap, hoping the Ukrainians blink. The first APC actually makes it through the initial bite of the mine belt. It noses forward, engines loud, suspension bobbing. For a split second, it looks like the plan works. Then, the tank behind it hits a mine. Not a gentle oops, a full-body metal cough. Tracks jump, dust erupts, and the turret does that ugly half-twist that screams mobility kill. Fire licks out, the crew bails fast. Black silhouettes scrambling away from a vehicle that just became an improvised bonfire. The lead APC stops and hesitates. You can almost see the Russian commander's thought process from orbit. Do we push? Do we reverse? Do we pretend this is fine?
They pick option 4, confusion. The APCs start backing up slowly, like the road is suddenly fragile glass. The column compresses. Everything bunches into one neat, delicious target area. Because mines don't just kill vehicles, mines shape behavior. They freeze tempo, they herd steel into predictable lanes, and the Ukrainians love predictability. A call goes out. Coordinates ride a digital thread from drone to battery to gunline. A moment later, artillery arrives, and it arrives with the kind of indifference only artillery has. Cluster munitions, airbursts, shrapnel whipping through the open ground like a steel sandstorm. One APC takes a hit near the tree line and becomes a smoke machine that can't turn off. The paralysed column tries to retreat down a different road, because retreat is always an option until it isn't. That second road is mined too, a second detonation. Then another. The recon group gets shredded into wrecks and runners and silence. The probing attack doesn't probe anything except the minebelt's opinion of Russian planning. And that's just the appetizer. The drone feed pans, wide, smooth, predatory, and finds the real problem. A larger Russian column moving up, armor heavy, trying to turn that probing mess into an actual breach. It is a long line of vehicles with all the confidence of a parade, and none of the protection of one. The Ukrainians respond like a system, not a squad. Grid goes out. Another battery answers. More cluster munitions. One of the enemy tanks gets tagged, hit hard enough to make it stop thinking about forward motion and start thinking about insurance claims. And then, here comes the patchwork miracle. A Bradley arrives with an assault team riding it like it's a moving bunker. Infantry dismount into shell-churned dirt, boots sinking into mud and pulverized brick. The Bradley's gun and coax start talking, short controlled bursts. Suppression that isn't flashy, but is brutally effective. The Russian push is already near the defensive line. The minefields slow them. Ukrainian artillery punishes them. The Bradley plugs gaps and spits fire into likely dismount points. A Russian RPG team tries its luck. The rocket hits. The Bradley shrugs. Not because it's invincible, because modern armor is engineered for exactly this kind of insult. The vehicle stays mobile and keeps doing its job, as if the RPG was a bad Yelp review. Here's the part where doctrine goes to die. Instead of deploying proper mine-clearing vehicles, the Russians start using APCs to clear the path, because nothing says professional army like using troop carriers as disposable plows. It ends about as well as using your car's bumper to remove a tree stump. Mines erupt under wheels and tracks. Vehicles stall in lanes that are already pre-registered for artillery. The column speed collapses into stop-start panic. And panic is loud. On radios, in engine revs, in the way armor suddenly forgets how to keep spacing. Another Ukrainian recon drone spots a second Russian element approaching from a different flank. A Russian soldier sees the drone and fires up at it. Like bullets can meaningfully negotiate with a camera in the sky. The tanks begin to weave as they advance, trying to complicate targeting. They zig, they zag. They put on a little performance, Donetsk drift. It's cute, but weaving doesn't change the fundamentals. They still have to pass through tree lines and minefields. The first tank gets stopped. Then a second tries the lane and fails too, because the lane is not a lane. It's a trap wearing road paint. Artillery immediately brackets the stalled armor. A big Russian column manages to cross part of the minefields and reaches the final approach, the stretch where Ukrainians can see everything and hit everything. Smoke screens bloom. Russian crews try every trick. Smoke, speed bursts, spacing, sudden turns. They're doing magic show misdirection, except the audience has thermal optics and a grudge. Ukrainian infantry stays active and starts firing anti-tank guided missiles. One damaged APC blocks the road, turning the lane into a choke point. Russian vehicles try to maneuver around it. One APC hits a mine. Another panics and pushes forward. There's no way through. Vehicles stall and become stationary targets. Artillery does what artillery does. It edits the battlefield. Part of the column turns back. Retreat vehicles hit more mines. Stalled APCs explode one by one, like a miserable countdown. Then the Russians regroup, because of course they do. They prepare a flanking push, a second wave. One APC hits a mine. A tank tries to go around it and explodes too. The battlefield starts to look less like an assault lane and more like a scrapyard curated by explosives. Only 2 targets remain moving. One Russian APC charges ahead, doesn't even retreat cleanly. It goes straight into the minefield head-on. As if speed can intimidate buried physics. It cannot. And through all of this, Leopard tanks support the defense, striking Russian vehicles from the beginning, working angles, punishing hesitation. Western steel doing exactly what it was built to do: sit behind cover and turn enemy armor into burning geometry. By the end, the Russian commanders throw remaining reserves into the fight, and it all ends at the minefield like a joke with a predictable punchline. Another push spins up elsewhere along the line. Tanks leave a staging area. Mission: break through a flank. It begins with shelling, the standard "we're serious" prelude. Then the column moves into the open. A tank, an MTLB loaded with ammo, and 2 other armoured vehicles tucked close, like they're trying to borrow courage from each other. Smokescreen deployed. A shell hits the tank from above. For a heartbeat, there's that universal question in every crew's head. What was that? Then the answer arrives with a signature tone. A javelin. Top attack logic turned into a missile-shaped argument. The assault stutters. The crew bails. They run for the MTLB like it's safety. The MTLB takes a hit to the side. And here comes the nastier detail. It looks like the work of a Ukrainian tank firing arcing shots from behind cover, guided by a drone. Indirect-ish tank fire, drone corrected, old-school gunnery married to modern ISR. The MTLB burns, ammo cooks, a powerful explosion punches outward. A bomb-dropping drone follows up. An FPV dives in. Smoke canisters on the tank detonate in sympathetic pops like angry popcorn. The assault is over. One more Russian attempt starts the way bad decisions often start, with confidence and a lack of flexibility. They lose an APC before the fighting even truly begins. Then a tank hits a mine and explodes, and the order comes anyway. No retreat. So they push forward into the open. Ukrainian fire greets them. They finally turn back. The previously disabled tank is now fully aflame, because time plus damage equals inevitable catastrophe. They try another route, into a mined tree line. A tank drives in and gets punished. An APC copies the mistake like it's following instructions. FPV drones strike immobilized vehicles. Steel burns. Then 3 APCs push forward.
An FPV dives into the second one. Direct hit. The lead APC charges and hits a mine. Smoke engulfs it. Then fire blooms. The rear vehicle gets hit. Then hit again. The assault collapses into wreckage and men sprinting for whatever cover still exists. At this point, the battlefield doesn't just stop the assault, it humiliates it. Now the camera finds a different kind of professionalism. A unit associated with Azov spots an enemy column. The Russians send 2 APCs ahead to scout. Goal: reach the village and dig in. They're already on the outskirts when the Ukrainians let the drones do the talking. FPV hits first. Bomb-dropping drone follows, neat and clinical. One APC is stopped. The other pushes forward anyway, because momentum is addictive. The first APC burns. The second reaches the village, then can't get past a mine barrier. A Ukrainian tank moves out, slow and deliberate, like a judge entering a courtroom. Drones keep attacking. The APC enters the tank's kill zone and detonates. The breakthrough dies right at the village edge, right where the Russians wanted to plant a flag and pretend the day went differently. Open source footage and Ukrainian outlets repeatedly show Azov units using FPV drones to disable and destroy Russian IFVs and APCs. The Russians don't stop trying, they just keep paying. Another wave forms, a tank leading, the full column, 2 tanks and 3 APCs. Ukrainian troops are ready. The first result is immediate. The column halts. One APC reverses onto a minefield. Another gets punched by an FPV. The Russians decide to retreat and hit more mines. And now, the enemy's most advanced system is not a tank, not an EW jammer, not even artillery. It's panic. Vehicles take wide turns trying to escape, and those wide turns lead into more mines, because minebelts don't care about improvisation. Minebelts love improvisation. Improvisation is how you step on the sharp parts. The field becomes a scrapyard of destroyed Russian armor, arranged in a pattern that says, we tried the same thing repeatedly in the same place against people who are watching from above. Then this happened. The survivors do what they should have done 10 minutes ago. Brakes on, heads down, radio screaming, trying to stitch a formation back together. But you can't rebuild a plan while the enemy is living in your Ode loop like it pays rent. Ukrainian drones hover like accountants. They tally targets. They pick the ones that matter. The mine-stalled armor, the vehicles trying to tow, the command trucks that always sit slightly too far back, pretending they're not command trucks. A cluster strike walks in again, steel rain over clustered steel. An FPV dives into a vehicle that's already immobilized. Because Ukraine's drone crews understand a simple truth. A stuck vehicle is not just a target, it's an anchor. It drags everything around it into the same kill box. And the last Russian attempt, one last push through, dies the way so many mechanized dreams die now. First, the mine stops it. Then the drone finds it. Then artillery finishes it. All the horsepower in the world reduced to a stationary object. The minefield doesn't just defend the line, it writes the story. When Russian assaults fail like this, the obvious loss is vehicles, tanks, APCs, everything burning in neat little clusters. The less obvious loss is tempo. A probing group gets destroyed, so a follow-on assault loses its eyes. A stalled column blocks its own lane. A flanking element hits another minebelt. Radio nets clog with conflicting instructions. Units that should be advancing spend their time towing, reversing, dismounting, remounting, rerouting. Burning fuel, burning daylight, burning morale. And Ukraine gets to do the cheapest, cruelest arithmetic of the modern battlefield. Mines slow the column. Drones spot and correct. Artillery punishes mass. FPVs finish the survivors. A few drones and a few shells turn a mechanized assault into a scrapyard, and the line still holds. The vehicles don't just die, they die in sequence, on camera, in a way that makes the next assault crew watch the lesson before they live it. Somewhere in a warm office, a Russian staff officer will eventually write lessons learned. Out here, the lesson is already burning.
Up front, the Ukrainian minebelt already writes it in simpler language. Welcome, please park exactly here. Bye for now.